The village that vanished, the chilling mystery of Anjikuni Lake. They left their fires burning, their food half-eaten, clothes still hanging on the lines, untouched, and every single soul gone. In November 1930, a seasoned Canadian trapper arrived at a remote Inuit village by Anjikuni Lake. What he found would spark one of the greatest unsolved mysteries of the 20th century. A village of over 30 men, women, and children had simply disappeared. No signs of struggle, no footprints in the snow, no explanation. This is not folklore. It's not fiction. This is a story backed by reports, by journals, and by the silence that still lingers over Anjikuni Lake to this day. A silence heavy with questions. The tale begins with a man named Joe Labelle, an experienced fur trapper, familiar with the Arctic cold and the ways of the Inuit. He'd visited the Anjikuni settlement many times before, friendly, lively, always bustling with activity. But on this trip, everything was different. As he neared the village, Labelle felt it first, an eerie stillness. Not just quiet, but wrong. The kind of silence that screams. No barking dogs, no chatter of children, no smoke rising from the chimneys. The first clue lay in the snow, or rather the absence of it. There were no fresh tracks, no movement, no life. Joe entered the first hut. Inside, a pot of stew still warm, clothes neatly folded, rifles stacked in the corner. A family's entire life, as if they had stood up in the middle of dinner and vanished into thin air. He rushed from hut to hut. Same scene. Abandonment without panic. No signs of violence, but no signs of life either. Outside, sled dogs were found tied up, dead from starvation, still tethered to their posts, their agony frozen in time. Joe Labelle was no stranger to hardship, but what he saw that day sent him sprinting through the Arctic wilderness to the nearest telegraph office. The message he sent triggered an official investigation. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police dispatched a team. What they found only deepened the mystery. The graves were open, every single grave in the village cemetery dug up, empty, as if the dead had been taken. And then came the strangest detail of all. Far above Anjikuni Lake, travelers reported strange lights in the sky. Pulsing, moving against the wind, silent, unnatural, and then gone. The RCMP filed a report. It vanished too. Some believe it was hushed, suppressed, lost in the bureaucracy of a government that didn't want questions it couldn't answer. Skeptics argue it was an exaggeration, a hoax, that Labelle made it up for fame. But his name never grew. He never profited. And the locals never forgot. The Inuit elders spoke of sky spirits, ancient beings. Warnings passed through stories older than Canada itself. Others proposed a more terrestrial explanation. Some said the villagers fled, fearing an epidemic. But why leave food? Why leave their dogs to die, their graves to be opened? Some say they were massacred, but no signs of struggle, no blood, no remains. And some whisper that it was something else, something not of this world. The story of Anjikuni Lake faded from headlines. The RCMP moved on. No bodies were ever found, no answers ever confirmed, just snow, silence, and the enduring absence of an entire village. Today, Anjikuni is rarely spoken of, just a cold spot on the map deep in the wilderness of Nunavut. But the winds still blow through the empty tundra, through the ruins of those forgotten homes, through a place where something happened, something no one has been able to explain, and maybe never will. Sometimes history isn't written in stone. Sometimes it's written in the things we don't find, the echoes of people who simply vanish. It forces us to ask, what are we missing in the margins of our maps? What secrets lie buried beneath snow and silence? And if an entire village can vanish without a trace, what else could be out there watching, waiting in the dark? The past doesn't always rest quietly. Sometimes it lingers, breathless, unresolved, and colder than the Arctic night.